Welcome back to my course on life writing and autoethnography. In our first video, or first content video in this course, I described some of the basic aspects of life writing and the genres of life writing. In the following video, the second video in this series, I went a bit deeper and we discussed the structure of life stories and how people put them together. In this video, we're going to delve a bit deeper and actually look at what are the components in memory which make up the things that you use to create life stories. So we're going to talk about autobiographical memory. Let's start with a very simple definition from Pillemer on autobiographical memory. Autobiographical memory is the memorial reconstruction, organization, and integration of the past events into an extended presentation of one's personal life story. Please note that this is a memorial reconstruction, integration, and organization. In other words, we are doing something with the materials with which we have memorial traces. So let's look at the basic aspects of autobiographical memory. So, as I just said, autobiographical memory of a life story is a reconstruction, and it includes the events that you remember about your life. There are differences in the way events are encoded and then reconstructed. You have many experiences during the day. Most of them you don't really remember. Some you remember. Some memories are just more consequential or surprising, and then they are remembered more vividly. So there are certain things, if you think of your day, think of what happened to you today, for example. There are certain things which are going to stand out in your mind, and there's certain things which you've just brushed over and basically are going to forget. Other memories are reconstructed from appropriate schema of similar events. So when you try and think back, say, what happened in school, there are certain things that you're going to remember or think you remember, but primarily they're reconstructed because you've seen them happen, they're conventional, and so on. It's important to point out that autobiographical memory is not an accurate representation of the past. It is a representation of how the individual has reconstructed the past. It's a representative of how you have reconstructed the past. So it's very subjective. Now, research into this area has suggested that we have three basic components and psychological processes which allow us to construct autobiographical memory and then by extension life stories. So first off, there's a conventional understanding of life periods. So we organize our memories according to conventional schema of the age and situation to provide, and this provides a ready-made organization system. We saw an example of this in the last video. What do you do at different periods in your life? This is, of course, informed by social and cultural discourse. When we live in a society, we have certain conventional expectations during different periods of our life, when we should get married, when we should have kids, if we get married, if we have kids, that's what's in your culture, and so on. Then we have general knowledge. So a person's general knowledge of locations, events, actions, activities, people, and so on allows you to take partially remembered events and to fill in the information. So often when you ask somebody about an event that they don't really remember so well, what they're going to do is they're just going to add in what is conventional general knowledge about that event and tell you, in addition to the thing they actually remember, all the things that they think happened because that's what usually happens. And finally, and most importantly, we do have specific personal event memories. We have memories of things that were consequential to us. And when they're consequential to us, They're specific, they're vivid memories, and they're things that stay with you. So let's take a look at how this might work, the structure of autobiographical memory. So let's start at the top of this chart. So life period could be childhood, teenager, student. That's the examples I've given here. What's general knowledge? Well, life at home. What was life at home like? What is life at home for anybody like? So you have certain general sort of knowledge about that. Going to school, what it's like to go to school, and entering college, what's it like to enter college. But then you have very, very specific memories. For example, my father getting angry when I broke a window. When I was a child, I broke a window once, and my dad got really angry about it. That is a specific memory I have. Or perhaps as a teenager, something like my daughter had her bag stolen. And stayed with her, and it was very intrusive, and it's a very vivid memory for her. Or perhaps entering college and you take part in a course-based research experience, you present a poster, you go to a science conference. All three of these are very, very specific personal events that you're going to remember. Of the three components of autobiographical memory, life periods, general knowledge, and specific events, it is the specific events that are most important. These are the events that uniquely position the person. They uniquely position you in constructing your life story. And that's the way that one life story can be differentiated from another life story. So this focus on specific events is very important. That, to a large extent, is what makes you you. And that's one of the things we're going to be using in a methodological way as we move forward. So what makes something specific? What is a specific memory? So let's give some criteria for this, and you'll see that this is important as we move forward. So first off, specificity. The memory relates to a specific memory of a particular event, time, and place. In other words, it's not part of the general memories, it's a very, very specific event. The second thing is you can always tell when someone's using general knowledge or not using general knowledge. You can also tell when someone is lying, by the way. So when you have a specific memory that's important to you, it's very detailed. It's situated. It's very clear. You know what happened before and what happened you know what happened after. It's a very, very detailed, described event. Number 3 is it's image laden. These experiences are encoded deeply because they have such an impact on us. So there's a depth of what we call sensory imagery, and you can relive the event in your mind. In fact, there are some disorders like PTSD where you relive it even when you don't want to relive it. So these are very strong, image-laden, detailed, specific memories. They're also emotive. Now, you might not be able to explain the emotion. You might just feel it, or you might re-feel it. But when you talk about this particular significant specific memory, there are a lot of emotions tied to this. So there's a lot of things that come with the information or the content of the memory itself. Think of things like the birth of your first child or seeing your child for the first time. These are vivid memories, emotive memories, specific time and place, very detailed. And finally, and perhaps very importantly, these memories are very true to the teller. The person, when you describe this event, you believe it to be true. You know it to be true. You feel it to be true. You sense it to be true. Not all memories that we have this sense of authenticity, but those that are really significant to us, they have this different qualitative sense to them. Specific memories are very important for what we're going to do in the continuation of this course. So let's summarize this and talk about autobiographical memory construction. In order to construct an autobiographical memory, the person selects specific self-defining major events and then organizes them within the framework of life periods. So think about what I'm saying here, what we're talking about here. It's as if in your life there are a series of defining experiences that happen to you. And those are the things that you really remember. They're very salient to you. They're very apparent to you. And you take those memories and then you situate them within this more general framework of understanding life periods and general knowledge about times. And that's actually how you organize your understanding of your life. And that actually is the thing we're going to play around with when we do autoethnography as opposed to just an autobiographical memory. Here are the references for some papers. As I said in a previous video, the McAdams paper is really very, very good, and I strongly suggest reading it. And the Pillemer Momentous Moments, Vivid Memories is an interesting book to look at. Okay, with that, thank you for listening, and I'll see you in our next set of videos.